Hello, this is Chili Gonzalez, and welcome to The Secrets of Solo Piano 3. The first secret you may not know is that all three solo piano albums begin in the key of D minor. On Solo Piano 1, it was Gogol. On Solo Piano 2, it was white keys. And on Solo Piano 3, it's Treppen. Treppen means steps in German, and it got me thinking about scales. So if you grew up playing piano, you might know this C major scale, 8 notes. Now, it's not really music, is it? No, scales themselves aren't music, and yet music is made up of scales. You know, classic melodies that use maybe 5 notes at a time or 6 notes at a time. There's even an old Christmas carol, Joy to the World, and the melody is basically the 8 notes of the scale going downwards. I mean, it's not the best melody in the world, is it? And I think it's because when you play a scale, you always know what's coming next. Yeah, so how do you build in surprise into a scale? And I thought, what about a 9th note? What about if you go farther than where the scale would stop? And that's what gave birth to the 9-note phrases of Treppen. The secret of Prelude in C-sharp major, which is the 3rd piece on the album, is that it's actually an answer to a much more famous piece of music, the Prelude in C major by Bach. A piece so iconic you don't even really hear it as music anymore, and yet it inspired me. I thought I can sort of put my own twist on this style of writing. So first of all, I bumped it up from C major to C-sharp major, sort of opening up some harmonic space above the original prelude. Also, the original is in a fairly standard 4/4 time. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. My prelude in C-sharp major is 5 beats to the bar. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. The next 2 pieces, Famous Hungarians and Chico, really belong together. In fact, they share the same melody, these 4 notes. In the case of Famous Hungarians, it's a slow piece that sort of asks the question. And that means that that last note, that blue note, that note of tension, it just kind of hangs there. And the whole piece is kind of a slow boil. And then we finally get a bit of resolution, because when the piece Chico starts, it's much faster. But more important than that, it takes those 4 notes and adds a 5th resolving note. And with these 2 pieces, I hope you'll have the impression of the second piece being a kind of fast answer to a slow question. As I composed the Solo Piano 3 pieces, I realized I had become much more comfortable with dissonance, with notes that almost sound wrong. And on B natural, I decided to see how far I could push the idea of what is musical resolution anyway. In the piece, we're basically in a world of major chords. And then normally, when you would resolve the end of the phrase, So I take this note, which happens to be a B natural. I believe most composers would resolve it. But I decided to just let it hang there. And because I'm a student of pop structure, I thought if I repeat this same idea of landing on the wrong note, maybe by the fourth or fifth time, the ear becomes trained. And so when they hear me building towards the end of the last phrase, at some point, the wrong note feels like the right note. And we've redefined what a resolution really feels like. One secret to Solo Piano 3 is how much rap music still influences me when I'm writing instrumental piano music. For example, I kind of fell in love with the triplet flow in rap, popularized by the group Migos. So you might have a beat, typical rap beat, always based on 4 beats to the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But the rapping will be in triplets. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the beat still. So you kind of have this coexisting together with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you get 2 time signatures at the same time, which is kind of mind-blowing and really fun for the human ear to process. So I tried to add that into my piece LSI. And here's the left hand, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's the melody. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I did some other rhythmic exploration on the piece Present Tense. It's a piece about anxiety and tension, obviously. And when I first wrote it a few years ago, I loved the harmonies and the driving energy of it. But something about it was still flat for me, and I couldn't figure out how to solve the problem of this piece. It just wasn't really tense enough for a piece called Present Tense. And I realized one night when I was quite anxious that the feeling of tension means that you're always a little bit ahead of yourself and you're not really in sort of the same synchronization as the rest of the world. You're ahead of reality. And so I shaved off one of the beats, and instead of this 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I put it into 7. In my piano room here, where I'm recording this, there is a cactus right in front of me. This cactus was on top of the piano and was watching over the entire Solo Piano 3 process, and it inspired the piece Cactus Impromptu. It is a true impromptu in that it is improvised. I had really no plan before putting my fingers down on the keys other than looking at this cactus. True improvisation with no plan is the sound of someone searching. And I suppose that the sound of a finished composition is the sound of what the composer found. And maybe I was never comfortable enough with reality to put something on an album that was just me searching. Of course, every day when I sit at the piano, I improvise. It's the first thing I do. And every piece on this album was at some point the fruit of an improvisation. But this is the first time I've really allowed that process of searching to be heard as a finished piece on one of my albums. Now, I don't have a favorite song on this album, but I do have one little passage in the song Lost Ostinato that somehow thrills me to play each time. Makes me feel like I've progressed. It's something I probably wouldn't have dared to do on the other albums, and it has to do with using chords that normally shouldn't go together. So you're taught in music school that if you have one chord, let's say this B flat major, that if there's anything close to the absolute opposite, in fact, a chord that has nothing in common with that B flat, a music teacher would tell you it's E major. It almost sounds like science fiction when you play the chords one after the other. But what would happen if you played those chords together? And this is the passage from Lost Ostinato. B flat, E, G minor, and its opposite, D flat major. For someone as harmonically conservative as I am, this represents some new kind of dangerous territory. Let's see what happens on Solo Piano 4. These are just some of the secrets and techniques and ideas and feelings and what I was looking at while I composed and recorded Solo Piano 3. The last secret I'd like to share is that all 3 albums end in C major on a happier note. It means we travel from the sadder, melancholy D minor and then end in relative happiness. It was the ending of one note at a time on Solo Piano 1, which was a bit more orchestral, to the sort of sweet and jazzy Papa Gavotte ending of Solo Piano 2. And here it's even lighter with the song Whist ending. Thank you for listening.